Press Start Video Games.
Hello, welcome to this episode of Press Start TV. We're going to be covering all kinds of stuff in the gaming industry today. We're going to be covering Gamescon, which is coming up, some big announcements there. We're going to be covering some survival horror games, all the games that are coming out in that genre. And of course, PlayStation Now, EA Access, Call of Duty, Destiny, a bunch of awesome stuff. With us today, of course, is Nine.
Yellow.
Filling in for Gage this week, we've got Nate.
What's up?
And of course, we have Sam over here.
Hey.
My name's Will. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about Gamescon. Basically, Europe's version of E3.
Pretty much. It's E3 is the biggest one, and then Gamescom is right behind it. And it's not going to be long before they're pretty much on par with each other.
We should definitely go there.
Smash
What was I saying?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We should definitely go to Europe.
Yeah.
I'm all for this idea.
Let's go to Germany.
Dude, that sounds
All
great.
about that.
So, a big announcement there. Of course, wouldn't be these days any kind of a Gamescom or Expo or anything else without a giant Smash Brothers tournament.
That's right.
That's the way it feels.
And
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the gamers playing together.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Nintendo is finally embracing the competitive side of their largest selling franchise ever, and it's awesome.
I don't think they initially planned that when they first made.
Oh no!
Smash
When
Brothers.
Smash Bros. Well, Smash Bros. Wasn't originally Smash Bros. The characters were just going to be polygons, essentially.
Yeah.
They didn't even add Nintendo characters at first, and now it's incredible what's become of it.
Right.
Oh yeah, huge franchise.
Yeah, I just don't see. I think it's a good idea, rather, that they keep doing the competitive side of things. I think it's only going to sell more copies of the game.
Yep.
And we did have a chance to play it. I know we talk about this game a lot, but it is phenomenal, super smooth. Cannot wait for it. Comes out on 3DS, then
So pretty.
the Wii U just after that. So you can check that out online, I'm sure. Another announcement: Dead Island 2.
Looking
You a
pretty
Dead Island
good.
fan?
I like Dead Island.
Yeah?
I enjoyed it. It's good co-op.
You like the co-op?
I like the co-op version of it. Just because there's so many zombies, playing by yourself can be overwhelming.
See, I heard a lot of people didn't like the co-op. They kind of lost it. It's a great idea. It's an RPG basically.
Yeah, and I think they took away from it that they were trying to push it as a survival horror game, and I think they were trying to push it more as an action horror game, not survival horror. And I
Right.
think that's where people lost the co-op feel for it. That's why I like it, because it's chaos.
Yeah.
And if you get 4 people in there with zombies everywhere, it's just nuts.
You know, possibly one of the greatest trailers of all time was Dead Island when they
The
first
first one.
That
Oh my
was
God.
amazing.
So good.
But Dead
Still
Island
see it.
2, I mean, hopefully they can capture that. The game itself, a lot of people liked the fact that you had to keep upgrading your weapons. Your weapons kind of got degraded
Weapon
down as you
degradation
use them.
and the whole 9 yards.
Some
yeah.
people say it too fast. You know, it was a little.
The first
too
one
much
had
fun.
your better weapons degraded way too fast.
Way too fast.
Like the katana, just
it's just
you got like 3 swipes with it, I think, and it was broken. I'm like, really? That's not a very good katana.
Yeah, right.
You can go back to your swordsmith.
Yeah, right. We need a better dealer.
But you know, definitely a great game. So I'm excited to see what improvements they've made to it. Obviously, it should look prettier. But what did they bring new to that game? Can't wait to try that out.
Yeah, that'd be nice to see.
Absolutely.
Some other announcements: Project Cars. This is an exclusive next-gen title. What do you guys know about Project Cars?
It is the most insane-looking thing I have ever seen.
Now, why do you say that?
This game was rumored a couple years ago, before the consoles were even announced, and it looked phenomenal. Like, I thought when they showed the preview trailer for it that I was looking at like a car commercial.
Oh wow!
Because it looks so good, and it's only come up threefold since that announcement a couple years ago, and it looks ridiculous. Just absurd details that you wouldn't expect them to put into a game.
Not exclusive to one.
No, it's all the same. Like
all-
Xbox One, PS4, PC, they all look identical.
Now, is it an actual game? Or is this
Yeah,
something
it's going to be like Forza and Gran Turismo.
Okay.
It's
Do
going
we
to be
really
a
need
simulator.
another racing game though?
You always need
I don't
racing
think.
games.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
It's just like football and sports and all this. There's always new cars. There's always new players. You got to keep up with the times.
I mean, it's not everyone's thing, but a lot of people do play racing games.
And you know what? I find that a lot of people just buy games within the thing that they like. Some people only buy sports games.
Yep.
Some people only buy Call
Exactly.
of Duty. We should put Call of Duty in its own. There's first-person shooters and there's Call of Duty.
Well, and even Acclaim, or not Acclaim, wow, going back to the old school days. Acclaim doesn't even exist anymore. Activision came out a few months ago, even like straight out said, we don't consider Call of Duty exclusive players gamers because they only play competitive Call of Duty.
It's crazy.
And I mean,
and
granted,
some of these people are just jumping on the bandwagon, which is fine. Great for Activision because it translates to sales.
billions of dollars every year.
But Project Cars, so it's basically like, is this like a simulation, arcadey type
It's a
of
simulation.
Simulation.
Yeah,
okay.
it's strictly simulation.
Okay.
But it's gorgeous.
So they'll be competing against Forza, Drive Club, Gran Turismo.
If they do it the way they want to do it, it's going to blow all of them out of the water.
Oh wow, so exciting!
It's going to. They're projecting it to be the most realistic racer ever.
Nice.
Well,
Nice.
ever. For our time, at least.
Well, you know, these next-gen consoles, obviously, you know, they're still tapping into, you know, developing things the right way
Oh
for
yeah,
them.
in
Get
4
them-
years, PS4 and Xbox One games are going to look.
They're
10
going to
times
look
better than what they look now.
amazing. Yeah.
Another title being announced, Shadow Realms.
Shadow Realms,
What do we know about this one?
I saw the trailer
I know
for it.
BioWare
It's
just released a
BioWare.
trailer for
Yeah.
it. That's the gist of my knowledge.
It looks really good though. It
Yeah?
looks.
What
it's
is it?
very-
Is it like a fantasy RPG style?
From the trailer, it looks.
really hard to
It's
tell.
really hard to tell what it's very much a BioWare title.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can tell BioWare made it.
Right. So
the
it'll be
tra-
heavy
I
on
mean, the
story and
trailer
script
just-
and
yeah.
character development
Yeah.
and choices and all that fun jazz.
It looks very interesting. Very interesting.
I'll have to check that out.
So Gamescom, a bunch of announcements there, like we said. That's all we have for you on Gamescom right now. We, of course, will review it once Gamescom actually goes through. We'll talk
Next
about all
week.
the announcements and all those things. We'll have more for you when we get back. Welcome back. So we're just talking about Gamescom. Let's talk about some new news that was just announced. PlayStation Now, EA Access. PlayStation Now is basically like a way, if you're on PlayStation 4, I guess PlayStation 3, that they
PS3 and PS4.
they have a way to download previous games, digital games that were released. Do they have PS2 games up on there?
They're supposed to have PS2 and PS1 games up, but that's part of the problem with it right now. Is they promised people that these titles would be available, and they're still not available. Now, granted, it just went into open
Yeah,
beta
so I'm
like
sure
the
they'll
end of
eventually-
July.
It was like 5 days ago.
Yeah,
So.
so
if you have
it's-
a PS4 and you don't have a PS3, or you got rid of your PS3 to get a PS4, you know, you can download some of these games and that kind of thing.
I played the PS3 beta. It works.
Yeah.
Like, it's scary how well it works. There was virtually zero lag between the game and the servers that they're running off of.
Wow.
So it works.
It's impressive.
The problem being
Is the
their
prices.
pricing model is
Oh, boy.
outrageous.
Yeah, I
It's
looked
like
into
$6 to rent it for 4 hours.
I looked into it. I love Sony. Sony fan. Actually, I like all Microsoft and
I like them
Nintendo.
all, yeah.
But I'm just not a fan. Sorry.
I'm not liking it. Like with the amount of money you're gonna fork out, just go buy a PS.
Honestly,
1, 2, 3.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
To be honest, it should have been a subscription-based model, like Netflix or GameFly, because then you could download any game you wanted, play it for as long as you wanted, no returns, no late fees, no nothing, yada, yada, yada. But no, they chose to do this ridiculously overpriced
Yeah.
rental model.
Exactly.
The top tier is 90 days, and it's currently $30.
Most just buy the
Most
full
of the
game.
games that are on
Right,
this,
just
you
buy
can
the
buy
game.
for less than half of that.
What do you think
Exactly.
about this, Nate?
Well, see, here's the problem with PlayStation Now. If they fix the prices and it becomes successful, the thing is, if this thing with being able to have digital-only titles online, what if we start seeing exclusive digital titles but not physical copies?
I don't
What
think
if
we'll
it
ever see that.
transitions to only digital? That would ruin game stores. That would ruin being able to trade in games.
I don't think they.
That'll
would-
never happen,
yeah.
and I only say that because of the huge, massive backlash that Microsoft got about E3
Hey,
last year.
that's a great
Oh,
point.
that's a
But
good point,
The thing
yeah.
is, I'm a fan of having the game.
Me too.
I like being
having
able to
actual
hold the
too.
game. I love being able
and
to
I
hold
can
it.
decide when I want to play. If I lose my save data, or if I can't get online or something, I don't like the idea of not having my
Well, your
stuff.
save data stays on your system,
Yeah.
so that is protected.
space
but-
becomes an issue.
But here's the thing:
I don't know.
think about games like Lunar Silver Star Story 2, $120 plus on eBay right now.
Yeah.
They put it on PlayStation Store for $30. I'm going to go with the PlayStation Store version.
Yeah,
Granted, having that physical copy with all the knickknacks and the map and the rings and all that fun stuff that comes with stuff like that would be great to have. But is it really worth spending $100 to $200 for these games that are 10, 20 years old?
I mean,
When I could pay $20
in my opinion, yes. I think there's more collectors, more people that actually want to have the actual game than just. I mean, if you just want to play the
chances
game,
are,
I don't know. I just
collectors
know.
like that, like me, I buy it when it first comes out.
Yeah.
Like if I want a collector's edition for something, I'll buy it day one when it comes out because it's going to be easier to get a hold of and it's going to be cheaper than waiting 6 years when it's $200 on eBay.
I like the
Exactly.
idea of having my game, being able to trade it or
I'm the
resell
same way.
it.
I love,
give it to a
I love
friend,
having
have
a
them
physical
borrow it.
If
copy.
you bought that collector's game and you want to resell it, you can't resell your digital.
No, but I'll
You're
always
out
have
of
my
money.
digital.
Yeah, I mean, unless you run out of space and you want to free it up for something else that comes
Or
out.
something
I
gets
still have
fried.
it though because once I
Something
download it
happens to
once,
your
it's already.
system.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
I mean, you know, we have
Can't play my Dark
experienced
Souls
this.
right now.
I think we've all experienced it at one point.
So I love just about everything that Sony has chosen to do with the PS4. I'm just not a fan of PlayStation Now. It's just me. Another announcement is EA Access. What do you guys think about that?
As of right
EA.
now, it's kind of awful.
Now, why do you
The,
say
the
that?
game choices are just
There's
not
a choice
there.
of 4 games, 4 games and 2 sports games.
Yeah,
are part
I mean,
of the
And
offer.
Not only that, but honestly, to me, this is EA slapping every single customer in the face
Oh yeah.
because they can't even release a game that's completed on time. Battlefield 4 is a huge example.
Still not fixed.
They pushed Battlefield Hardline back because they were afraid that the same thing was going to happen with Battlefield.
It could still happen.
It very well could
Who
still
knows?
happen because it's almost 10 months out and we still don't have a perfectly working
What's
copy.
the premise behind it?
The same thing as PlayStation Now.
Oh,
play
okay.
play your rental games, but this one's a subscription-based service versus per rental service.
This one's more like Netflix. It's $5 a month, I believe.
Yeah.
So
It's an option. Again, just not a fan of the model.
Yeah.
I think EA, Battlefront from EA, I cannot wait for that game. Man, it's going to be awesome. Mirror's
I
Edge,
hope.
they got like a Burnout type game that they're producing. All the sports games. EA is a great company. They make sure that their games that they put out most of the time are great. Battlefield 4 is a great game. But yeah, the multiplayer, I mean, you can't have a game of that caliber and not put in
exactly.
the time and effort to
Yeah.
release it, right?
Yeah.
But they make mistakes, but
let's hopefully they learn from it and not repeat it.
Right.
I do agree that the EA Access,
Well, if they released more games for it, I think it'd be something
sure
great
they
to have.
They have a better starting ground for their pricing model than PlayStation Now.
Oh yeah,
by
absolutely.
far. But on the offset, you've only got 4 games
yeah.
versus PlayStation Now, which has several games. I don't even know what the count's up to now, but
It's
they
100
promised over 100
120
at
something,
launch. So
Um,
like that.
Some other news that came out recently: Call of Duty announced their multiplayer for Advanced Warfare.
August 11th.
the trailer for that comes out
Yeah, the
August
trailer
11th.
for it. Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Can't
All
wait
your
for
details
that.
coming.
And we're at E3. We played Call of Duty. For all you Call of Duty fans out there, this
we
is
play?
not your typical multiplayer game.
We didn't play it. We just saw the walkthrough.
Well, we watched somebody play it.
Yeah, we saw the walkthrough.
But if you look at the multiplayer for Advanced Warfare as opposed to all the other games,
That's going to be totally different.
totally different. Totally different.
It's going to be more of a
yeah.
strategic style multiplayer combat versus just run in, blow everybody up,
Yeah.
and move to the next room.
It'll have some feel of Call of Duty, but you got the double jump, total new weapons. Everything is
One grenade is all your
more
grenades.
strategy is
It's
what it
so
comes
cool.
down to.
Yep. It's
And
nice
you-
to see they're really changing it up this
I'm
time.
glad that they handed it to a different developer because somebody,
Yeah.
finally a fresh set of eyes and hands.
They
Got
added
to
they
take
added
a
new
stab
new
at it.
things that they
And I think
wouldn't necessarily.
that Sledgehammer, like we were talking to that guy at
Yeah.
E3, he said, this is our baby. Like, this is the biggest game we've produced, and we want it to be better than Infinity Wards and
They went back and took all the things that worked, got rid of everything else,
Right.
put in some new things.
It's
these
going to be
guys,
awesome.
It looks really,
this is
really
the first Call of Duty in a long time that I've been stoked for. I
think a lot of people are.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Obviously, Call of Duty's got a huge multiplayer following. There was another announcement, Destiny. I think they're going to have a great Call of Duty experience to compete with this game, Destiny, which is going to be a huge, massive title.
It's going to be big.
They had what? They announced that you have to get to a certain level to have in order to have 6-man
Unlock,
strikes.
they didn't say all raids, but they said to unlock 6-player raids, you have to hit level 20. and it's only open to your friends. There will be no matchmaking for 6-player raids.
How do you feel
That means
about
I
that?
gotta play with you.
If you really want to, I mean,
So
if I'm one of the 6 people online at that time, then yeah.
so
I'm
most
good.
of the raids are 1 to 3 players.
There's smaller raids that we saw, like in the beta, they had
Right.
that 3-player raid. But then there's 6-player raids. But all the raids are going to be matchmaking free, which means there won't be any kind of lobby for it. You have to have 2 to 5 friends.
I
to do
wonder
it.
if they announced that based off of the results from the beta. Is that that's why you have a beta, right?
I don't know.
To determine these things.
They came out and defended it, and I didn't get a chance to read the article of what it said. But I assume they know what they're doing. I mean, they made Halo into what it is today.
Either that or they're gonna run into the whole, what World of Warcraft ran into. Nobody,
Well, and that's the other thing
ended up-
too. Raid is
you
a
know.
term typically associated with massive amounts of people going in to fight almost impossible to kill
Right.
enemies.
Right.
I
So
love the 6-player, strikes in Destiny is where it's at for me. I can't wait to do that. That looks like a ton of fun. I think it's cool because it's a first-person shooter, whereas most of those games are you got your
most
magic. and
MMOs
your
are typically a
it's total
third-person,
different
fantasy-based style game.
All right, so we will of course be talking about those games in the very near future.
Oh, yeah.
Well, more for you when we get back. Hello, welcome back. We're going to be talking about, we got done talking about Gamescon. We talked about Call of Duty, PlayStation Now, all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about survival horror games. Some good stuff that has come out with this genre. And, one of the better games that came out recently that's not even a disc-based game, but it was just kind of a short little playthrough was Outlast. If you haven't tried it, it's on Xbox and PlayStation.
It's on Xbox One, PC, and PS4 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just came out for Xbox One like a month or so ago.
What game would you compare this
There's
to?
nothing to compare it to.
So this is one of those games that you start off nothing.
If you had to compare it to something, the closest possible thing to compare it to would be Fatal Frame, in the fact that you don't have any line of defense.
You've got nothing. Yeah.
Actually, I've got something. This is obscure. Lost in Blue from the DS.
That's
You
pretty
had
obscure
nothing
to start
that
off
game
with,
too.
and you had to kind of.
Yeah.
So this is one of those. They definitely have. If you like the kind of games that jump out, you jump a little bit. This is definitely one of those games. Great story. Definitely a very mature game and everything. They added some DLC to it. I think this game's
disturbing.
worthy of going. Having an actual.
in the past few years, this is the best survival horror game that's come out, and it's $15, and it's only a few hours long.
I think it's $20 now.
Is it $20?
Yeah.
I thought it was $15.
$20.
Anyway,
Yeah.
whatever. It's out. It's on the stores.
Yeah.
And it's
I
the
looked at it today,
best.
that's the only reason.
It's the best experience I've had so far.
Not a whole lot of gameplay, but still a great experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Journey didn't have a lot of gameplay, but the game was incredible for what it was.
Yeah.
I think more people expect more out of this genre as technology advances. They want to have that experience from the movies. They want to be playing, and I think if developers do their game right, and you're playing it, there's much more opportunity for you
Oh, yeah.
to jump out than just watching the movie.
That, and you're more engaged to buy DLC for stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
Because if the game's terrible, you're not going to buy DLC
Right.
for it.
Some other games that are coming out. Dying Light. What do we have new about Dying Light?
This is not my realm. Sorry, guys.
There actually hasn't been a whole lot of information. I think they released a new trailer for it since E3, but since E3 there hasn't been a whole lot of new info out on this.
I thought it was like the sequel to Dead Island originally.
That's what everybody thought
Yeah.
originally. It's made by the same people, so it's looks the
I
same.
think it
has
kind of
that
combines
feel.
that feel, but also some free, or what's it called?
Free
Parkour.
running, free running,
Okay.
parkour, yeah.
Yeah, and then of course at night the game gets much more difficult. So it'll be interesting. I think it's gonna be a good game.
I think it's
check
gonna
it
be
out.
really good.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Another game coming out. This one I'm not really excited about. I mean, it looks terrible. I don't think people are gonna get on board with it. Bloodborne.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you.
Yeah, worst
Don't start.
game
This
ever.
isn't fair. You can't do this. Let's not ignore everything these guys just said. First off, it's not even classified as a
man.
survival horror game, so let's just get off of that topic altogether.
Sure it is.
Jerks.
We
totally
really
set that up.
we couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
By the way, and you're right, but Bloodborne looks fantastic. That's another game. That's a game I know I'm
You
gonna be
won't
spending
see
my money
me on like 6 weeks straight when that game comes out. Just
Nine's
saying.
out again.
We
By the
can't
way, I
pry
beat
him
Bloodborne.
away.
I beat Bloodborne for the 37th time this week.
I think that it's not technically a survival horror game, but definitely has a great atmosphere and some good,
All those games do. Demon Souls had its points where it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Dark Souls had several points where I was not so much scared, but frustrated with what was going on, which scared me.
Yeah. So back to the survival horror stuff. There was a game announced at E3 from Bethesda. Looks fantastic. It's called Evil Within. Now, you and I had a chance to play that one. It's it's got some elements to it. One of my favorite things, we were watching other people come out and getting their impressions of it, and some of the comments they were saying, "Why does it look so grainy? It looks so grainy. Is it supposed to be like that?" It is. It's supposed to be.
They
like
came out when they showed us the video for it. He's like, "Now I'm going to warn you, it looks like crap." It's supposed to look like that. It's supposed to have that film grain noir kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
The old
doesn't actually look like crap.
Horror, like the
Right.
old horror.
The old
movies.
horror,
yeah.
like 50s horror movies with Nosferatu
Or
and
the ones that
the
actually
giant
were
Gila
scary.
monster. And
Now, when we say it looks like crap, it doesn't look like crap.
No, it's a gorgeous game.
It's got a style to it.
yeah, it's a visual art style that Shinji Mikami has brought to the table to give you that survival horror feel. And if you
think
like
it was,
Resident Evil series, you're gonna like this game.
Yeah. I ran out
Hands
of
down.
bullets just like that, and I was on my own kind of trying to find other ways to take down some of the monsters. But
Interesting mechanics for that game.
I really like the lighting effects. And again,
yeah.
with technology, some of these developers, exactly. He's done a great job of creating this atmosphere, and I think that's part of the thing with
I
a
would love to
survival
get
horror
inside
game.
that
Right.
game.
Atmosphere
Yeah.
is.
If you're in
you
a-
That's the
have to have
biggest
it.
thing.
If you're in
when it comes to
For a
horror
survival
games.
horror
dark
game,
Yeah.
house and the monsters coming around the corner real slow with just a light down going, like
Jason Voorhees style.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I love it. Yeah. Speaking of jump out at you, jump up games, again that I didn't think that was going to make me jump, but man, 3 times I just took.
Yeah, Gage is going to be upset he's not here to talk about this
Oh,
one.
I know that he's a big fan as well. But
Oh yeah.
Alien Isolation, there was some news announced recently
Yes.
from this.
Some very cool news as far as I'm concerned. It's actually a little bit old news, but it's still relevant. Most of the original cast from the original Alien movie has signed on to do DLC with their likenesses and voiceovers. The only one that didn't make it was the guy that played the cyborg. His likeness is in it, but his voice isn't in it.
That's all right.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
They can make do with a voiceover actor.
I think that's the problem with the other
So
Alien games is they
excited.
weren't able to capture that essence. And with
No,
this,
and they've Creative Assembly. I'm just at a loss for words because Creative Assembly has done the absolute perfect Alien game as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, and I'm telling you, when you're playing it, you don't think you can be scared. You don't think you can jump out. This thing,
That alien's
turn
gonna
your
make you
sound
pee
up a
your
little
pants.
bit. You'll turn around, you'll turn back around, you'll turn around, you turn back around. It's right in your face.
Yep.
That's how it
Oh
works.
god.
Several times in that demo, I was almost ready to cry. I'll admit it.
But it looks like an absolute fantastic game. You guys fans of survival horror?
Some of them.
Not my realm.
I haven't played too many. Favorites definitely Resident Evil 4.
Oh, that's one of the best.
That's a great game.
Love that
ever,
game.
yeah.
That
Incredible.
is a great game.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for you today. You can, of course, check us out on Facebook.com/PressStartVG. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want us to talk about. And check out our videos on YouTube.com/PSVGTV. We will catch you next time. Out.
See ya.
Yeah.